Hello and welcome to Setting the Stage, Episode 87, Adapted Azeroth D&D, Flare and Akridon. I'm Isaac Shaker, I'm your host, and today the topic is kind of getting back to what the show used to be more about, of just someone's good old-fashioned homebrew world, nothing special, no actual play, no thing associated with it. So Flare has been working on this for a while, and yeah, it's somewhat inspired by World of Warcraft, that's why the Azeroth thing is there, but it's his own stuff. Yeah, let's take a look at it and get into it. I'm here with Flare today. Hi, Flare. How you doing?
Doing pretty good.
Yeah. So we're going to talk about your world, Akridon, today, but we always want to get a more full picture for who I'm talking to. So who is Flare outside of RPG stuff?
So I'm Holy Flare 484. I'm mostly an artist and a bit of a gamer. I've been trying to do like YouTube as a job for nearly 10 years now. It's not really.
Oof. Yeah, that's tough.
Yeah. But outside of that, yeah, I mostly draw, collect things, and play tabletop games.
Cool. What stuff are you trying to do on YouTube?
Mostly gaming content.
Gotcha. Okay. So like video games or role-playing game kind of stuff?
I guess it's been mostly video games up to this point, but I guess I could try and like do a mix of the two.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha. Okay. What brought you to like RPGs in the first place?
All right. So what brought me to okay, so it started back in around 2022 to 2023 while I was still in high school.
Mm-hmm.
Some of my friends had mentioned that they had joined the school's D&D club.
Yeah.
And after a while, I did some researching into it. I thought it sounded fun to play. And so sometime during February of 2023 or 2024, I, went over to the club, talked to the person who runs it, and I ended up getting to my first game, which only lasted like a session because the very next day the campaign was being run, the DM had gotten burnt out.
Oh, so you joined at like the worst time.
Yep.
Did you DM after that, or did you find something else for playing?
Oh yeah, I found someone else. I didn't really start DMing until this year actually.
Okay. No, that's not very much time then.
Yeah.
So is Akridon your first world then?
It's my first actual fully fleshed out campaign setting. I did originally create another world because I used to be like trying to get into writing books, and so sometime like 2022 or 2023 I actually created my first fantasy world.
No, it's for like a series or book that you're writing?
Yeah, it was for a book I was writing.
You still working on that, or is that kind of fallen by the wayside, like a lot of projects do?
Yeah, it's fallen to the wayside. I mostly worked on it during high school, but after I graduated, I couldn't really bring myself to start like working on it again.
Yeah, that makes sense. Other stuff comes up, and then you lose the spark for whatever it was.
Yep.
Well, yeah. So we're here to talk about Akridon. Let's talk about what the world is like physically first. So what does it look like from space?
Okay, so I do have a map if you'd like it, but the primary world is split up into three separate continents, and each of the three continents holds like a separate, I guess, kind of species.
Mm-hmm.
And there's the large continent on the right side of the world is known as Tyros, and that's where all the kind of more human-like species live. So, like your humans, elves, tieflings, all that. It's mostly flat with plains, savannas, jungles, other grassy and humid biomes. And at the very top of the world is a place known as the Dusklands. which
Uh
is
huh.
where all the more bestial races live. So, like your Dragonborn, Kenku, Spaxi, all those. The permanent land there is somewhat lumpy, a couple of hills, and made primarily from taiga, snowy plains, and other sorts of cold biomes.
Okay.
And finally is the large continent at the south, which originally in the past it used to be a sort of bridge between the previous two continents, but it was basically almost completely like destroyed and made lifeless during a war that happened in the War of the World.
Okay. So some big magical war kind of broke that up into pieces.
I I guess so. That it was mostly just like one dude in his army.
Oh, okay. So the northern one with like the more beast races, does that have lizard people there too? Because you said it was cold, so that might not be like as suitable for lizards to grow up in.
The more southern parts of the Dusklands are where a majority of the more like reptilian races live,
Okay.
because it's a lot less snowy there.
So we've got kind of like the human races in Tyros, and then the animal races in Dusklands, and then the third continent. What was that one called?
The third continent is known as like the Scourge, and it is completely lifeless, so basically no one lives there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. I was going to ask who lived there, but there we go.
Well, technically, yeah, I'd say technically there is. I lied a bit. There is a race that lives there, but it's more in a sense of like we live here for like operation purposes and not like daily life stuff.
Yeah, like how people live in Antarctica, but it's all like researchers. It's not like real towns.
Yeah,
Yeah. So is there a similar split between like there's a pantheon of gods for Dusklands and a different one for Tyros?
it's it's mostly a combined pantheon. The separate groups have their own like specific gods to them.
Okay, so there's like a pantheon for the whole world, but maybe Dusklands focuses on some of them more than Tyros does.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Who? What are the gods that you have?
All right. So there are well really two prime gods, and that is the first is Lysandus, which is the god of light and actually the physical embodiment of the sun.
Okay.
And he's the one who rules and created all the more human races. And second is Earthia, the goddess of night and the physical embodiment of the moon, who created all the bestial races.
So just two?
Yeah, there's like demigods and other deities, but yeah, those are just the two main gods.
Okay. Yeah, that makes it pretty simple then. Sun and the moon. And do they have sort of a duality for the different things that they're a god of besides the sun and the moon? Like one of them is life, one of them is death, one of them is heat, one of them is warmth or cold,
It's
that kind of thing.
yeah, Lysanus is the god of light, so it's like heat and all that, and then Earthia, goddess of night, and so that's all the cold stuff.
Okay. Yeah. One thing I'm noticing on this map is that Tyros has a lot of rivers that are, and Dusklands too, like rivers that run in like two different directions. Is there like a magic water thing that's making them do that? Because rivers don't usually do that, where they like one of them's even flowing over a mountain range. It looks like.
It's flowing through the mountain range.
Oh, there's like a canyon or something there. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. I'll be honest, I'm not really fully versed in like river placement and how they work, so
All right.
just
Yeah. It's a common like thing for like initial worlds to have rivers that are a little strange compared to real ones, but yeah, no worries.
yep.
And the map also has this like sort of donut looking thing in the middle. What's that?
It is a bit of a magical construct, but it disguised as a landmass. it's supposed to be uh I'm running a campaign. I'm probably gonna share this with
Oh,
the
oh,
other.
it's a secret. Okay.
Yeah, it's a secret to
Okay. Fair
everybody.
enough. Fair enough. But there's something going on there. All right. Fair enough.
Yep, natural stuff.
Um, so the split between like humans over in Tyros, well, humanoids, not just humans, in
Yeah.
Tyros, and bestial races in the Dusklands. What was your reason for doing that split between the two continents?
So it was mostly originally. I mentioned this before that the Scourge used to be kind of a land bridge connecting the two. So originally, yeah, the two races kind of lived together mostly. Then it was during the aforementioned war when the prime ruler of the humanoid races at the time, but some pretty horrible, but like a mix of like preventable and non-preventable things happened in the Dusklands, and the prime ruler of the humanoids, who was a bit racist, decided to kind of use that as propaganda. And then when the war came, he was the one who ended up shattering the land bridge, which created the Scourge. And so that's the major split that happened. Now, at the southern end of Tyros, you see the little kind of there's like a little yellowish green area,
Yeah. Hmm.
and also at the southeastern end of the Dusklands are sort of areas where the opposite groups can live. So the little Tyros areas for the bestial races, and then little Dusklands area for the humanoids.
So is that something that's like that's a place that's suitable for them, or more like that's where they sort of have different colonies or exclave kind of things?
A mix of both.
Okay, so it's not just a political organization that's having those. It's there's also a component of like what's actually habitable for the different races.
Sort of, yeah.
Well, from what I understand, for like standard D&D, there isn't that much of a difference for what they need in a location to live. So, is there something that you've added in for that?
Mostly, it is mostly just like certain living conditions, like maybe extra heating or like extra. It's not freezing. I guess just like chilling. How about that? Extra chilling for the like some of the night can.
So they're used to like colder environments, so that they need to make it a little bit colder in that space for them to be comfortable.
Yeah,
Okay, so it's more about like comfort than like an actual necessity. It's just that those areas work better for the Nightkin. So is it like colder down south because of it being closer to the South Pole or something?
yeah, mostly.
Yeah, I guess that's an important question for this map. Is this actually a globe or is it flat?
It is a globe. I haven't really put in the thought of how it would fit on the globe just yet.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, you could just honestly, a lot of official settings also don't care about like
Yeah.
how it fits on a globe, and yeah, like Faerun isn't even like a full continent for what it is. Okay, you mentioned there was a war that broke the Scourge into a bunch of different pieces and made it into an uninhabitable wasteland. What was the story for that war? Is that related to like sort of the origin story for Akridon?
Yeah, well, not like the origin story for like the full. It's like the main event that really defined the world.
Uh huh.
And so yeah, basically like the event that created the world was just the two gods kind of messing around in space and then accidentally like ending up creating the planet. But for the war, it's known as the Unifying War. And what happened is the build up is there's this guy who conquered the world and then named it after himself. So he was a bit of he was a bit self-centered. I mentioned this before, but yeah, he was a bit of a racist, so he didn't really see like the more bestial races in the same light as the humanoids.
Uh-huh.
And so while in this kind of period when magic was still trying to be discovered and more like understood, there was a event where eight of the bestial races, which I will use the in world terms for the humanoids are known as Dakin and the bestial races are known as Nightkin.
Okay.
Uh, eight of the Nightkin, they died in pretty horrific ways, and Akridon, which is the person, decided to use that as sort of propaganda to better like get people on his side. The whole catalyst is that like he's trying to get people to hate the Nightkin, and eventually it gets to a point where they do a bit of magical testing on two specific humanoids that Akridon knew, and that really pissed him off. So it snowballed into the beginning of the war, which was when the land bridge got fractured. And so the entire war was just about this one dude and his army trying to just completely get rid of the Nightkin.
Okay, so it developed as like an excuse for him to commit genocide.
Yes.
Okay. And then he's the powerful wizard that also broke the land bridge.
Yeah, with his army.
Okay. Yeah, no, that works. How long ago was that in your world's history?
It began around 1,737 years ago, like before present day.
Okay, so pretty long time ago, like from our frame of reference, that's like when the Roman Empire fell, which still is important today in how we view history. Um,
Yep.
so what parts of that are still relevant within your campaign world?
Like the lingering kind of there are still some Nightkin who live underground. After like I'm gonna do a mix of like still a bit of fear, but also like we've been living under here for multiple years now. I don't think we can move even if we're safe.
They just got used to it.
Yep. There's also the a bit of occasional. It's not very prevalent, but a bit of occasional racism here and there.
Yeah, yeah. I feel like that's just sort of natural when you have races that are as different as like humans and Kenku. Like there's just like too many physical differences for there to not to be some component of racism.
Yeah. But the prime result was that there is no one person rules this. Like the two main continents are both ruled by a collective to prevent what happened.
Okay. So there isn't like any single king that has a bunch of power. It's all like collective decisions
Yeah.
at the
Yeah.
higher levels.
Well, both of the collectives like assign like governors or kings or queens just like help them and relieve them of some of their duties. But yeah, when it comes to like the big decisions, it's mostly like the separate collectives.
Okay. Okay. Are they organized into like two political units, like Dusklands and Tyros, or is there more like five kingdoms within Tyros or something like that?
Yeah, I did manage to get like governments written down. So for the Nike is run by just the little group called the Nike Council, which is one male and female from every race of theirs. And
Okay.
they rule as a kind of representative republic. So they stay in power for up to 25 years, and afterwards, votes are made with like various candidates for who takes up the next spot.
And is that about equal representation? Because I feel like within the way most worlds are structured, like there's like 50 elves and 1,000 humans, and if they have equal representation, the humans might be a little annoyed.
It is mostly like equal representation.
Okay, so they don't need to do some sort of population fidgeting to make it more fair. It's pretty close to fair with you are elf, so you get one elf representative.
Yep.
Okay.
For the Tyros side, they can are ruled under a group known as the Eyeless, which are very devout members of Lysandus, and they rule as a theocratic oligarchy. They stay in power until they die.
Okay. I mean, that's not that unusual for the time period for D&D kind of stuff.
Yeah, and when like they get elected, like the public does not know about the Eyeless other than they ruled the continent. So everything they do is kept very like tight under wraps.
Is there a reason for that?
It's mostly just like I've actually never really thought of a good reason for that. I just thought it sounded a bit cool.
Fair enough. So they keep their decision making pretty private. It's like all of that's behind closed doors, and it's mostly just like here's the new law. We're not going to tell you why we came up with it.
Yeah, a bit.
And this presumably wouldn't work in a system where there's elections, because then people would want to know like why decisions are being made and have accountability if they're going to be voted for again. So are these voted representatives or no?
I mean, it's mostly voted between like the still living members of the Eyeless.
Okay. So there is a voting system, but it's only for the people that are actually informed about what's going on.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah, that makes sense. And that's for Tyros and the humanoid people. And the little group of people that's on the Scourge, are they independent or still associated with one or the other of the two collectives?
So I should probably say, yeah, a lot of the people on the Scourge, like the main people, I quote unquote people that live there are actually a majority demons.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. They have basically free reign, and when it comes to ruling, it's a pure despotism where the seven main lords of the demons rule with absolute power.
Okay. Yeah. Demon stuff. No need for collective decision making. Okay. And the cultural setup for these different places. So we talked about government, but there's also just like the way they practice their religion or have like their holidays. That kind of stuff. Like D&D is usually this sort of European-esque medieval age kind of thing. Is that kind of where you're going with it too, or is there a different inspiration you have for the different regions?
I was thinking the same, like kind of European thing.
Yeah. Is there a big holiday that they like, or do you have anything like that written out yet?
There is well, the main holiday is the day that the unifying war ended.
Yep, that's a good one.
It's basically just
What's
like everyone's off, chill, do stuff.
Do they have like a festival that they do for it?
Yeah, it's mostly just like like separate parades in Tyros and the Dusklands.
Oh, so they both celebrate it. It's not just one or the other. So they both didn't like the war.
Yeah.
Okay. It's interesting. I thought that would have been more of a Dusklands celebration since the war was kind of offensively directed at them.
Yeah, well, near the end of the war, the ruler Akridon started to kind of go, all right, we need more fighters. I don't care who gets picked, and he started using magic to forcefully will his people into fighting.
Okay, so once the draft started, everyone hated it.
It wasn't really a draft. It was just more like a you fight now.
Ah, okay. It's interesting that the cultural memory for that would last that long. Like, not necessarily like cultural stuff does last that long in the real world, but it's more for things that are associated with religion compared to this being more about the end of a war. Like, I don't think I can even think of a date for a war that ended, like you said, 1,400 years ago.
Well, it the war started 1,700 years ago, and it ended 1,400 years ago.
Okay, so it was a 300-year war between the two continents.
Yeah,
Wow. Okay. Yeah, I can see how that might have a bigger impact on the culture. Okay. Okay. So in the survey you sent me, you said there was a World of Warcraft inspiration for this, and the two continents and them being sort of opposed and having clear racial differences feels like a
yeah. Alliance versus Horde.
yeah, I can see that. So Tyros is kind of alliance. They're the day people and they're more normal, and Dusklands is kind of horde. Not that horde is necessarily animalistic, but anyways.
And you got the Scourge represented by the demons.
Yeah. And is there other parts of World of Warcraft you're bringing in, like the giant magical power thing they're fighting inside of Azeroth over?
Not really. It's just mostly like the whole Alliance versus Horde thing.
Okay. It's pretty loose inspiration.
Yeah.
Also in the survey you'd mentioned like there's a few like differences in how magic works in Akridon. Do you want to talk about those?
Okay. Yeah. So a very long time ago in the world's lore, the two gods were kind of playing around a bit and creating the seasons. So you get like summer, winter, autumn, all that.
Mm-hmm.
And because of this constant like use of magic, there was like a small amount of it that kind of lingered for a bit and started to float up into the sky. And then after a very long time, it eventually created this thin sort of layer of magic in the sky, simply known as the ethereal layer. And whenever clouds float up into it, their rains get enchanted and turn into mana rain, which is like the source of magic.
Okay. So do you have to drink the water, let it rain on you, or
You collect it, and then for like sorcerers and stuff, it's usually like a small amount gets into the skin, and I say like very small. You do not want to intake a very like large amount of this stuff. It is deadly.
okay, so it's kind of like how in the Marvel comics, like radioactivity gives you superpowers, but you still don't want to get exposed to a whole bunch of it, kind of thing.
Yeah,
So just having a little bit of that leftover magic existing within up in the sky, and then the rain clouds absorb it, and then that rains down, and then if you eat like an apple that was grown with that, you could get magical powers, or if you collect that water, you could use it to make a magic sword.
yeah. Actually, the main use of the waters is to create magical items. Like scrolls and stuff are written in like ink mixed with mana rain.
Okay, okay.
Then for magic items, it's mostly like mana rain mixed in with the molten metal. And so yeah, it's usually just like combined with certain things to give them that magical effect.
How often is there mana rain? Like, is it something people have to somewhat avoid pretty frequently, or is it what,
It's a once a month thing.
once a month? Okay. So once a month there's a rainstorm and everyone has to stay inside or else they might get magic poisoning.
But yeah,
And all this rain with all the magic it has is presumably also making the oceans magic. Is that how it's working?
yeah, it's mostly how a lot of the oceanic races were made
Okay.
through
So
like
like a little.
fish and stuff getting enchanted and then over time slowly evolving into the other sorts of monsters and stuff.
It's like a shark gets exposed and then it becomes more and more like a Sahuagin until it's completely transformed.
Yeah,
Okay. Any other magical differences?
not that I can really think of.
Okay. Is there anything else you wanted to talk about the world that we haven't got to? I wanted to give some time for your campaign as well, if you wanted to talk about that.
There is, I guess, two more regions I haven't really talked about, and that is the underground and the underworld.
Oh, okay.
I'll start with the underground first. So, yeah, this is mainly where all like the monsters and stuff live. There is four separate tiers to the underground, and like the deeper you get, the stronger the monsters become. And
Of course.
for rolling, there are a bunch of different special monsters who consider themselves princes. But as for like a pure government, the entirety of the underground is watched over and ruled by a man known as the Lich King. He rules as an absolute monarchy.
Is he an actual Lich King?
Yeah, he's immortal, doesn't really have a living body, necromantic powers.
And this part is feeling more connected to World of Warcraft.
Yeah,
Is it meant to be the Lich King, or are you doing something else here?
it was a bit inspired by Arthas Menethil from Warcraft, but
Yeah. No, cool character. I think it's a good idea. But this is underground, so in the Underdark is all like spooky and evil. Like in standard like Faerûn or Greyhawk, the Underdark sort of has people living in it that are surviving and creating things down there, even if they're mostly evil. Is that how you have it set up, or is there more just like it's just a bunch of dead monsters?
yeah, a lot of the people live at the very top of the underground because that's where all the like weaker monsters are. The only real reason to like travel deeper is for well, mining or like searching for treasures or other like abandoned buildings. I will say that after an event in the world, the underground became like completely locked off to the people. And so in order to get into the underground, you either need to get permission from the local ruler or something, or get a job as a person who has to go to the underground, like a miner.
Okay, so it's like locked off because it's dangerous.
Yeah.
Who who's enforcing that?
Well, a mix of both the Eyeless and the Nightkin Council.
Okay. So they actually do look closely at that kind of thing. So I was imagining this kind of like in the United States, like national parks are regulated, but you can kind of just go there and a park ranger won't necessarily notice you for a day or two. But this, is it more like that or more like, trying to go to North Korea as an example is something that's dangerous and could set off some sort of international incident. So that's more like, no, every entrance and exit is guarded. You cannot do that.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's basically like that. It's except there really aren't any like guarded entrances. It's just like there really is no entrance. So you just have to ask them, and they'll probably like teleport you down there. And then
You can't just walk to the Underdark here?
no,
Oh, okay, that's different. Um, So instead of it being like, there's tunnels that go down there, it's like a sort of almost a separate plane. Nothing really can. Well, I guess there might be some connections, but there aren't enough that people know about them.
There are like caves and tunnels, but they're more like a layer 0.5 to the underground. The underground itself is completely locked off.
Okay. And you mentioned the underworld as well. Is that like a separate thing?
Yeah, so there are only like really two portals to the underworld, and those are the only two access points. And the underworld itself is like a sort of pocket dimension inside the planet's core. And I've taken a bit of inspiration from Dante's Inferno with the underworld. So there's like the like 9 layers to it, 7 different types of demons and all that.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. And this is also presumably not physically accessible. I mean, it usually isn't within how cosmology is set up for role playing games.
Yeah, it's like the first main access point to the underworld is a specific portal at the very bottom of the underground, and it's already locked off in and of itself.
Yeah, that already seems like that's basically inaccessible. Okay. And this is, I mean, that's Dante's Inferno. What about like Purgatory or Paradise? Do you have similar comparisons there?
Uh, I haven't really thought of that, but like, yeah, not really.
Does your world have like a heaven where angel creatures come from?
The sort of heaven in the world is a place simply known as the realm of the fallen, and basically, whenever you go there, well, whenever you die, your soul goes there, and then depending on how good or bad you've been, your soul either gets stuck in like a infinitely flowing river, or it gets to regain a form, and you get to live in a little special town for the rest of eternity.
Which of those is the reward, I guess?
The town.
All right.
No, you get to talk with other people.
You just get to keep living is the idea.
Yeah,
Okay. Solid deal. So with only two gods, there isn't really like D&D worlds tend to have like, oh, here's hell for chaotic evil people, and here's hell for lawful evil people, and neutral evil, and then the same thing for heaven and elemental planes and all of that. It sounds like yours is much more focused and having fewer things because you only have two gods. You don't need to have as much of a complication for how the afterlife works.
yeah.
And is it something that the people in the world have more of a concrete evidence of? Like, I mean, we have undead that you mentioned already, so this is something like, people can go there and then go back with powerful magic.
When it comes to undead, there are like certain factors. So necromancy in the world is a mix of both like the usual bad stuff, but also a bit of good. When it comes to necromancers, like if you want to become one, you can just really be a necromancer, but you have to get like specific permission from the Lich King. He's actually a bit of a good person. And so
Okay.
he talks to the ruler of the realm of the fallen. They get a little conversation, and then after a point, they go, "Yeah, you can become a necromancer," or like, uh, "No, we don't have too many right now." There are like the multiple people who go rogue. The whole idea was sort of taken from RuneScape, where the main character, I guess the player character, is able to summon all of his little necromantic buddies by, I kid you not, asking their souls for permission.
Okay. So there's a consent aspect to it.
Yeah,
It feels like that's one of the main things that's missing from the ethical question of necromancy. Like D&D usually presents necromancy as just evil because the magic itself has like evil energy in it. But from a different ethical perspective, it's just subjective. Like what we do with our bodies after we die is very like culturally specific. And we have two that become more accepted within our world of burying or burning, but other cultural practices have existed and do still exist somewhat today. Is that kind of not a taboo in your world where necromancy is okay as long as that's what someone says they want to be done with their body after they die?
Yeah. Either the Lich King or the ruler of the realm of the fallen, they ask the souls. Well, like it's a very fast process. Think of it as like a computer. So the necromancer tries to summon a bunch of guys, and then almost all at once, it's like this. Like they go around going, "Hey, do you want to be raised? Yeah. Hey, do you want to be raised? Yeah." And then it's like a kind of split-second thing.
Just like a search protocol that they're running on the like library of dead souls that haven't been queried yet.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, maybe not exactly how it works, but I get the idea of I want to summon 5 ghosts, and it's just the first 5 that are waiting in line almost.
Yeah.
Okay. And does this bring people back from the bad underworld, or just the good one, or both?
Mostly the good side of the realm of the fallen.
Yeah, so people aren't allowed to come out of the bad one.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, makes sense. I'm curious if that extends to other types of magic in your system. Like there's also enchantment magic, which, does take away someone's ability to choose. But there are other stories about magic where like someone has to be at least somewhat willing to do what you're telling them to with an enchantment spell.
It is like a mix of like how it usually works in D&D. Like you can, like if they're willing, no, you can just like use it on them. But if they're not, they'll have to like do a sort of saving throw, try and fight against it.
Okay, so that isn't changed mechanically or really otherwise. It's still like if
Yeah.
someone is completely opposed to farting, I could still dominate them and make them fart or something like that.
Yeah.
There's a better example than that, but that's just came to my mind first. All right. That sounds good. Yeah, anything else you wanted to talk about before we move on to like your campaign?
Not that I can think of, no.
Okay. Well, one of the things I did want to talk about related to your campaign was that you're a new DM, and what you feel about your experience so far as a DM.
So, I feel like my experience so far, I have been enjoying being able to like tell like a sort of story that I want to tell.
Mm-hmm.
The main issue I have is when they kind of get off track and I have to like quickly think of things on the spot, because I'm a bit of a sort of freedom person. Like if you get off track, I mean, I won't like immediately try and force you get back on track. I'll like try and play along, but yeah, I do have a bit of trouble with like immediately thinking up things on the spot. So that's been one thing I've been trying to work on.
And I mean, there's other solutions to that. Like you can just tell people, I don't have anything prepared for that, so we either need to take a break or you need to do something else. So that's a solution to that. But yeah, the skill to improv quickly and well is something that does take time to develop.
Yep.
Are you enjoying those tangents for your group, or do you kind of wish they weren't doing that?
I am enjoying it. It's been giving us some pretty fun moments.
Okay, cool. Done. Yeah, I guess just practice and it'll get better. I like having a more structured approach myself, but I know that there are a lot of other DMs that like the more player choice. My method has been to just say, okay, well, I don't have anything prepared, so we're just going to end early for tonight, and you guys are going off to, go to the Orcs of the West, and I'll have that adventure ready for next week, or at least the first bit of it.
Right.
Well, yeah. What is happening in your campaign? What are the players doing?
So I've been running like two separate ones so far.
You have two campaigns at the same time?
Yeah.
Okay, ambitious.
So the first one and the one I kind of like more is a bit new, and it's been focusing more on like the demonic aspects of the setting. And currently they have just made it out of a like they started the session in a town, had to search around for a demon who was hidden within like the people during a large gathering. They oh they I expected it to take like maybe half an hour, but out of I out of sheer luck, they managed to find the demon on like the first try. So I was like, shit, what am I going to do for the rest of the
Well, I had an adventure where that happened, and my preparation was kind of like, oh, well, they'll go here first, and they'll get like the demon slaying sword that's hidden in that little compartment there, and then they'll be ready to fight the demon. This is for one of the adventures I'd written, and then they didn't do that. They just kind of skipped over that section, and then they weren't ready for the demon because they didn't have the demon slaying sword. I had some trouble adapting that one, and I forget what I did in the end. But yeah, that definitely happens.
And then afterwards, they traveled outside the town to reach another one. It's like a five day trip with it's like two or three random encounters in between.
Mm-hmm.
And they reached the town, got some information on where to go next, and that is where we have currently left off. They're about to head northeast.
Okay.
So yeah, for the second campaign, it is I got this. I can't remember where I got this one, but it was like a sort of idea I had where the main premise of the campaign is that the players are playing as revenants who are attempting to like get their soul back from a rogue lich.
Okay, that's a good concept.
Yeah, except I think I've been kind of executing it poorly so far.
What makes you say that?
So, like like the planning phase was that I was thinking, okay, so these people look pretty bad. So I was thinking, oh, the upper like all like the normal regions probably wouldn't want them in the city because of how like maybe they're scaring the people off, and so the idea was to give them like a sort of home base to be able to be at. But I ended up putting the home base underground,
Okay.
and so the problem is, I think, is that it's become a sort of get a mission, go here, solve, and then like the players get an item to teleport back. And so that's really all it's been so far. Like, I mean, I'm currently trying to like plan out a dungeon for them to run. Hopefully it'll bring a bit of excitement into the campaign, but who knows?
So is the issue there that there isn't really a lot of interaction with NPCs outside of combat?
Yeah, the only NPCs that they are able to interact with are the other ones in the little underground town.
Okay. Are you okay with that for now? I mean, that does make it somewhat easier for you because there's less variables you have to think about for what's happening.
It is a bit like easy for me, but a part of me also wants to focus on how fun is it for me.
Yeah.
Because like, oh, if they're only like interacting with like 5 or 6 NPCs, I can just like write down what these people like, how they act and what they do, and boom, I have reliable people for them to talk to. But at the same time, maybe like 20 or 30 sessions in, if it's still the only like 5 or 6 people, it gets kind of boring. Versus being able to have hundreds of different people to talk to that you may not like fully know how they might act, but it's still like a different person every time.
Yeah, exactly. Are you going to make any changes to make that work better?
I feel like I might somewhere down the line might make the change to move the city, like the little town above ground, so that it isn't constantly like teleporting here or there and then just teleporting back, and also possibly opens up like interaction where instead of having to just teleport to where you need to like do the mission and stuff, you get to walk there and have interactions along the way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, more of a journey quest style.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, some small changes would be good there, I think. Get something more like what you want. Well, I think we've reached the end of my notes for the interview. Is there anything else that you wanted to talk about?
I will say, and if we're on the topic of notes, I will say the lore document is probably the second biggest thing I've written so far.
Like ever or for the world?
Ever.
Ooh, cool.
Yeah. And so it's working on Akridon has been slowly getting me back into writing.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
Are you enjoying it so far?
Yeah. It's been fun, getting home from wherever and then, well, what like usually what I do is if I can't think of something, I would just like sort of leave it there because my brain likes to come up with things like practically every minute. And so I'll maybe like go outside, go for a walk for like an hour, and then maybe during that walk, like whatever I'm trying to think of, my brain will like slowly build it up over the course of the walk, and then when I get home, I have a bunch of things that I could write down.
Yeah, I know the feeling. You don't want to just sit and try and write. You want to actually go out and do something else, and your brain will think about what to write while you're doing that, and you'll be ready to go when you get back.
Yep.
Well, yeah. I think that's all then. Usually I ask if you have any DM advice at the end, but I feel like you just gave it there. So.
Yep.
Well, thanks for coming on the show, Flair. It was great talking with you.
Yeah. Just glad to be able to possibly share the sort of info about my world. Maybe get other people interested in it.
Yeah. That was Flair telling us about Akridon, his own world, and cool stuff. If you want to learn more about it, there is a Google Doc link in the episode notes where you can read more and steal things for your own campaign if they're good. In other news, the Crit Award voting is happening right now. So if you want to influence that decision, there is a link in the episode notes to the Crit Awards where you can vote. Voting goes until August 23rd, so get your votes in before then for people that I'll encourage you to vote for. We have Forgotten Adventures, who is a past guest on the podcast, so vote for them. And as always, thank you to our patron Darren for supporting the show. If you'd like to support the show, you can go on Patreon, and there's different tiers offer different stuff, so you can get little goodies or just get early content without ads. So yeah, check that out. We'd really appreciate it. And thanks for listening, even if you don't do that.